I'm Chris Claridad, and this is Strength Sessions.
All right, thanks, Chris. Flip it over. It's still recording. All right. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Welcome to Strength Sessions. I'm Camilo Gutierrez with Strength Sessions, presenting another a great interview. Super lucky tonight. Spencer Moorman of Cal Strength. Been watching him for about maybe 3 years, and seen his progress as he's getting really great with the lifts, and also dropping down, maybe a lot leaner when he first started.
Yeah, so it was probably about a year ago.
Can you hear?
You
Yeah,
guys gotta get
it was
closer.
probably about a year ago from the Arnold that I started dropping down, and it took about 6-7 months for me to drop down from about 270, 280 down to the 105 category, which is about 230 pounds. So that was
how was that? I mean, how was that whole transition? And what made you think about the transition? Was it just the hard training, you're burning a lot of calories, or was it a conscious effort like, hey, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and make a couple tweaks in my diet? Or
that's really what it was, is that it was a lot of like little kind of tweaks in my diet that got me down through there. And I tried to take as long as possible so that way my body could adapt to my new body weight, because my body was feeling way different positions, and was like my bottom position for sure got a lot deeper, and that was just something that I'd never been in before, you know, for a long time, because the last time I weighed 230 pounds was when I was a freshman in high school.
Wow.
Yeah. And what kind of made me want to drop down was, one is that even at like 5'10", 5'11", and 270 pounds, I was still a really small super.
Yeah.
You know, and so just like that, so keeping that in mind, and also having my coach, or at the time Glenn Pendlay, he said, you know, let's just give it a shot and like just take our time with it. And I had other athletes and coaches put the idea in my head, you know, that, you know, like given my body type, that it'd be very prudent of me to drop down to another weight class, you know. So yeah, but that was pretty much the only thing that I did to cut down, was tweak my diet. So I pretty much took out like all my carbs, sugars, and salts, giving myself like a little leeway every week or two. And it took about like a good 6-7 months to drop down that weight, and then, you know, I'm still getting used to my new body. You know, it just takes a process of adapting to it.
All right. So one thing that you know, I've watched him, and the one thing that sticks out of my mind is his numbers have still, like, I mean, he's still climbing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, your numbers have, like, usually when someone drops like body weight, there's going to be a little discrepancy, and also the leverage is pushing off, having those places to push from, and being strong from. You're learning those new positions, basically. And
exactly.
Man, to keep those numbers up and the body weight down.
That was the big reason why I wanted to take my time with dropping down, was because I didn't want my lifting numbers in particular not to drop. Because I'd seen that from lifter to lifter, you know, they go from being this huge person and they take like 2 months to drop this huge amount of weight, and their lifts go kind of down the drain just because their body can't adjust to it that fast. And so I was very fortunate to have that easy transition where my lifts, or my snatch and my clean and jerk stayed relatively the same. Actually, like now I'm snatching the same as I was as a super, as I am now as a 105.
And that, guys, that's super difficult to do, and be as consistent as you are in your lifts. You guys hit a lot of lifts. Well, I've seen you guys grow. I've seen a lot of misses, and now I'm seeing a lot of I mean, you guys are making a lot of touchdowns. That's just like sticking with it and pushing through.
Yeah. You gotta have confidence in the program and in your coach. You know, otherwise, you can't sell people past your own like selling point. You know, so I was very like confident in what my coach was doing, what I was working out with, that I was, you know, I'm gonna end up, you know, where I want to be. So yeah, like now, like I'm starting to get back to where I'm now snatching the same, and my clean and jerk is only 9 kilos off of what I set the junior American record at 204. And I feel like I'm, you know, hopefully by the time Nationals comes at the end of this month, I can reproduce some of those old numbers there.
Yeah. Oh, you will. I
Thank
see
you.
you lifting this techniques right there.
Thank you.
All right, really quick. One thing that I noticed, and one thing that got me the video camera out was his maturity and his freaking like personal development, and just like he is so much calmer. And I think I just seen it in his lifts. They're like more like, I want to say a little like just smooth and effortless. What did you learn? And I mean, I just asked, I go, man, you're so much calmer than a few years ago.
You know, I feel like it was more just like, you know, I'm only 21, but you know, but like I've been lifting for close to 13 years, so I feel like just, you know, like there's that young ambition and there's that fire that you always
that energy,
have.
energy.
You know, and like I've been lifting around so many great lifters. You know, I'm like lifting around Donnie, and I was lifting around Casey Bergner for a while, and you know, there's a myriad of like great lifters that I've always been around, and that's one thing like particularly that Donnie.
I know someone who would get upset. You know who would get upset at you. John North.
John North. John North was the guy who gives me that fire. You know, who made me want to headbutt walls, but that takes a toll. You know, that takes energy out of your lifts. You know, so I found that it's just that I can that it's so much easier to try to refocus your energy and not get all fired up about that one lift. Even though you want in training, you know, you want to make all those lifts, but you know, in training that's where I feel like you can afford to have like those silly mistakes, those once in a while ones.
The learning lifts, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, yeah, that's just one thing that like I feel like throughout like all the great lifters I've been around, you know, that I've taken in from them, is just to be more a calmer approach, but still lift. That's one thing, and I feel like the times that I lift my best is when I'm just lifting to lift.
Yeah.
You know, where I'm not putting a max amount of pressure on myself, where you get all
trying
tense.
To create that external energy.
Exactly.
And that environment. Create that environment. You're internally creating the environment for you.
Yes.
Okay. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
But you know what? It was freaking fun to watch, going crazy. I think you guys built, you and John and you know the rest of the crew. You guys built a certain level of energy and excitement to the past years of the PWA, and really made it exciting and fun. You know, it was a fun period. Now it's a different period.
It's a different period. It's a little different, you know, because there's a lot more younger faces. I feel like that there's a lot more younger faces who are still like on the up and coming, and it's odd to think that like. At Cal Strength in particular, that I'm the old dog now. That Rob and myself are the old dogs, and I've only been there about 2.5 years. Rob's been there for 3.5. You know, and it's just funny because we haven't been there very long, and we're all of a sudden we're the old dogs in the gym trying to keep the young bucks in place.
Yeah, you guys are setting a great example.
Thank you.
Spencer Moorman, man. It's
always
happy here, man. Hey,
always a pleasure.
You get to say, hey, thanks. Say goodnight, Strength Sessions.
This is Spencer Moorman saying goodnight to Strength Sessions.
All right, cool. Hey, thanks.
Awesome.
Man. Hey, thanks for your time, dude. I appreciate it. Heck yeah.